If you want to learn more about DAOs on the blockchain, keep on watching this episode.
We back. We black.
Yes, we are black and back. Both East Coast natives living in California. He's in LA. I'm in San Diego. Two somethings in a pod.
If you came for serious shit, and if you came to be educated, you came to the wrong fucking place, buddy.
Only on the Dom Jackson Experience. Hello, new people. This is the two. Oh,
Yeah, we got a bloopers reel, bro.
Oh, we definitely do. So this is the Two Somethings in a Pod podcast. Your favorite boys on the blockchain, making the blockchain fun for everyone. I'm Dom Jackson, your host and founder of Day by Day Media.
And I am Ozzy McIntosh, your co-host of Two Somethings in a Pod. And we back.
We black.
Goddamn.
Damn right, black and black, making the blockchain fun for everyone. And today we're going to be talking about DAOs, DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations.
What are these? What is that? I'm hearing it. I've been hearing it across the interwebs. People talking about DAOs. Everything's a DAO. Why?
Baby, are
For
you
what?
DAO? Sorry.
Yeah, that's a classic though.
It's a classic.
Who sang that?
That is a classic.
Sean Kingston or Justin Bieber?
Nah, I think it was Jay something. Him and Lil Wayne. Jay, it was some kind of Jay. I remember him having the J.
Oh
name.
yeah.
Did Lil Wayne have the lighter on that one too?
It probably did.
Anyway, so to explain what a DAO is, the decentralized organization, you definitely want to first explain what a smart contract is, because the smart contract is the biggest component that kind of makes DAOs a DAO. Mm-hmm. And a smart contract is basically a coding contract, and what that coding does, it is if this then that. So if one thing happens, then something else will happen. But if that first thing doesn't happen, the second thing will not happen. So think about it kind of like you would with like a math textbook. And when you're little, like if Sally buys 3 apples and she gives Jimmy 4 apples, how many apples? Oh, what better math than that? If Sally has set 10 apples and she gives Jimmy 7 apples, how many apples will Jimmy have, or something like that? Just kind of like a very simple process. So if I gave Ozzy 5 Ethereum, and the contract would be if I gave Ozzy 5 Ethereum, he would give me 2 pizzas. So if I didn't give him the 2 Ethereum, the 5 Ethereum, I wouldn't get anything, and if vice versa. So like if we did not have the coding would know what things were supposed to be completed, and if they are completed or not completed, the contract would only activate if that happened.
Yes, correct. So, and then the major thing is what's different between, like, two things, like, where does that trust come from? Like, how are you able to trust that person? Do you need to trust that person? And then the other thing is there is no one main body, again, with this whole decentralized nature of the blockchain. There is no one main body or intermediary that's a human being or entity that can tell you that this transaction can or cannot go through, or this contract can or cannot be executed. So the code is the middleman, technically. The code is, nothing can happen if the code does not think that the first thing happened, as Dom explained, right? The code is the end all be all. The code is also, again, because it's on the blockchain, it's verifiable, so that makes it tamper proof. Again, but let's just always want to make sure we tell people that because everything is so new, there is stuff that happens where DAOs do get hacked, but it's never due to what's necessarily on the contract, but more about the holes that, let's call it what it is, the holes that the coders or programmers left inside of the code itself. So
Yes. So the contract as a whole is a if this then that, the same way any other contract would be with some kind of 2 business or 2 entities. Somebody's going to do one thing, someone else do something else. But as opposed to having a lawyer and a legal team back that up and control all of it, it's just code. It's just code that is verifiable on the blockchain. You can see it publicly. So that's why smart contracts are the base of everything. Now going into that now we can go into what a DAO is. And a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. And basically all that really means is that all the voting rights and the deciding what things are done are not based centrally. They're based on everyone else around it. So it's not, so as opposed to having a company with like the board or a CEO making all the rules, like the big boss making all the rules. All the people that are involved in it, like the fans or employees, will make all the rules instead. So with a DAO, you are in a so for the example we're going to use, because it makes it explain a little bit better, if Ozzy and I decided to make a DAO for the Two Somethings show, so we had a Two Somethings show coming out, and we had a smart contract that said, if so many votes happen for A, then this path of the story will happen. If so many votes happen for B, then this path of the story will happen. So the contract would have that information, everything set up on the contract. Now, the people that were fans of the show could buy coins. You would buy the coins, and the coins would allow you to vote on which way you would go. So fans of the show, hey, I bought this many coins, I can cast this many votes. So let's say path A, the some things go to the zoo, and path B, the some things go to Toronto. That's a wild gap, but
yeah, that's crazy.
But everyone who was watching the show would have a chance to buy the coins, the something coins, and with those coins, they can then use that coin to cast a vote for which way each thing would go, make each decision. So whatever that number would be, the smart contract would know from how it was programmed to know which path we would go based on their votes. So your votes are being casted in. There's a lot more. It's a lot more similar to how a democracy is supposed to be run, or a board run things, because as opposed to having, someone at the top saying, I'm the big boss, blah, 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 all the people that are involved in it, that are invested in it by buying these coins, have all the control. And it could be anybody all across the world, because, anyone who can get these coins, has access to it, has an ability to vote, cast vote, and propose things.
For sure. And something we should mention is that not all DAOs are created equal. And when I say that, I mean to say not all DAOs are the same. So there are some DAOs where, again, DAO stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. So emphasis on the organization. There are some DAOs where there's a person at the top of the organization that is kind of moderating. There's a person at the top that is moderating everything, but they aren't necessarily the end all be all. And the reason why there's organizations like that is so that there's not like straight up like anarchy, right? And then Don mentioned, most of the time the DAOs will give the voting members options, so it's not just like a free for all. And then there's some DAOs where there is a free for all, where it's just like, just suggest something, and then the community will vote on it, and then we'll see if the community wants it, the community will say that they want it, right? But you got to, like, especially for a person like, let's just say us, and let's say that, when we do get big and we have our DAO, would we want the community to have full control over everything that we do without giving them some type of guidance? I don't know, but that the fact that that's even possible, and it's executable through code is really, really cool. And it I think it allows for two things. It allows for people to feel more involved in a project, so it gives the project more value a lot of the times. Yep. And then it allows them to be more invested into it as well. So it's like, if you could imagine if you had a board seat on Apple and you got to decide what the next iPhone bezel design would be, or something small like that, or even something as big as, should we release iPhone 15 or should we release iPhone 15.5 or whatever. That would be really cool. And I'm sure somewhere down the line, there's going to be big organizations that are going to allow for that type of capability. Yeah. And that way they'll also be able to kind of like predict sales too, where it's like, we see this many people are invested into it. Like we should definitely do it,
Yes. I think another cool thing that I thought about too was that because the company example makes a lot of sense. That's kind of already how companies are run, as far as the board making all decisions for things. But instead, the board is now anybody who has access to the tokens, which is super cool, because now, like, you and me can have a chance to do it. Just to make sure you have enough funds to get enough tokens to have enough power, but there's more access to it than did before. Another thing I was thinking about that is super relatable now. Like, if you're an artist, a musician, like you tour and you have a DAO, and you can now all your fans in your DAO can use the DAO to pick what cities you tour in. Like imagine that. That's like a great concept to kind of have exact input of the people who actually care the most about something to do it to make the choices, and then they can just vote on. They can vote to make the decisions on what things happen within the tour dates of where that tour would be. But there's a lot of great opportunities with this, and with smart contracts being, basically publicly seen and untamperable.
I don't know if that's a word,
untamperable, unfuckwittable. There's a lot of great upside to what DAOs are capable of long term.
Yeah, and we also have a few examples of some DAOs that exist today that are fully like operational and actually kicking up projects. Our first one comes from the Jenkins the Valet. Now, the reason why I wanted to mention this one, I told Dom off air, is that it's actually a great use of Bored Ape IP. So I know we mentioned on this pod before, but through Bored Ape Yacht Club, if you buy a ape, it allows you to control the IP of that ape, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I forget the name of the individuals that bought this one, but they turned their ape, who was just a generic type of ape, into a character named Jenkins the Valet. They gave him a job. They gave him a backstory and whatnot. They did that before they built the DAO, I believe. And then they even went so far to get actual like novel writer that's like a New York Times bestselling writer to write his story. And then when they created the DAO, they call it like the writer's room, which has now spun off of this project and is going to create other projects separate from Jenkins the Valet. A few things that you can do with this DAO is it gives you access to the members only writer's room to contribute to the creative direction of the content. It allows you for writer's room NFTs and something called Hawthorne tokens, which is again like a decentralized content creation community. Nice. An opportunity to license approved avatars in exchange for a licensing fee, physical memorabilia, and then free content NFTs that have their own roadmaps and utility. So again, it's like very much meta. It's stuff within stuff within stuff. At the top level, it's Bored Ape Yacht Club creating this thing, not knowing what people were going to do with it. And then it's people like these individuals that created a DAO using the IP of a Bored Ape, creating a whole character, backstory, and stuff. And then the third level is them allowing, through that DAO, people to have their own NFTs that they can do stuff with. It's crazy. It's a lot. It's a lot. And it's only possible. There is no other way to do this without needing to trust an individual than through a smart contract right now. And if it changes, that'll change. But it's just like it's a step above what was possible with especially content creation. So I see this being a thing for like this got like Hollywood attention. So I see this being a thing where people are going to be writing books this way. They're going to allow for collaborative content creation, collaborative writing, collaborative movies, collaborative art, all this stuff, and it's all going to be possible because of this.
Yeah, that's a badass DAO. That's awesome.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of other storylines coming out. Another popular DAO, one of the biggest ones, the main one was the DAO. All caps. And this was the one.
What was that?
This is like one of the earliest ones of building up like a decentralized financial network for crowdfunding and venture capital. And basically, that one was on Ethereum. They raised $150 million, give or take, in Ethereum. And that one, that's a lot. And they was going to crowdfund it and set everything set up. And this is one of the bigger moments in time because this was around 2016. They had a humongous hack that happened in that DAO, and $50 million worth of ETH was stolen, which is like shows one of the. And the issue wasn't in the DAO itself; the issue was in the code. So
yes, as
far as how that coding process works, I don't know that in depth. But the DAO being, hold on. But the fact that someone hacked it affected everything, how the people in the DAO like trusted everything. And when that moment in time, they did this thing called a hard fork, which basically they split the Ethereum network into two different versions, which was the Ethereum Classic, which kept the 50 million being stolen, and the Ethereum that we have now, which is its own thing that everyone basically got their money back. And that was something I thought was pretty wild too about the blockchain, that like you can just make two different versions of reality of it, depending on how the coding is. Like
parallel universes on the blockchain,
literally parallel universes.
Something again I want to be very, very clear about is the technology is new and it's open source. So the idea of it being open source means that yes, it's great because people have access to technology that they wouldn't have access to before, in ways of coding stuff that they wouldn't have access to before, and it's free. But that same thing allows for a lot of vulnerabilities because people are not yet able to, teams I would just say, are not yet able to code like really secure contracts just yet. That's why you see these DAOs getting hacked left and right, and people like losing like really large amounts of money because there's large amounts of money going into it. People that are natural investors or people that got their money through crypto investing or whatnot, or buying NFTs and flipping them, are pouring their money back into the space. And so much of that money is tied up into these DAOs, you know, because you got to think about it. Like if you're somebody that really is into the space, you want to be involved in a project and have like a say in the project. So where are you going to put that money? Into a DAO. And then what's the issue with the DAOs is that they're not super, super secure yet. But listen, there's solutions for this. So the solutions are just like our regular tech companies like Microsoft, Apple, and whatnot. They have things called bug bounties. And we mentioned them before, where literally they will pay people to find bugs or holes or vulnerabilities in their code. And depending on the severity of the code, they'll pay you more or less. So let's say that you found something that will like, you know, it's definitely 100% would like cause shit to crash or cause a lot of people to lose a lot of money. It's like a higher payout. And you're literally just like, as the person, as the bug bounty hunter, or as a penetration tester, as they call it, you're literally just sitting there trying all different types of attacks that you know or that you found to try to get into this code. But you're not guaranteed the money unless you do something, right? So there's people that would like dedicate their time to just do that. There's a lot of organizations that have created that same thing within the Web3 space. So I think the more of that happens, and the more vulnerability testing that happens prior to putting out the contract, the better for the space, for sure. It'll help to decrease the amount of hacks and whatnot.
Absolutely. It's still so new, and there's so much new coding. There's so much, it's still very much a new thing, and there's still so many people that have malicious intent with a lot of things. So
yes, unfortunately.
Seeing how as the better people get, the more defensive everything will be and more safe everything will be. But definitely a big issue. Some of the other DAOs that I saw that were pretty cool was that there was a DAO to buy like a rare version of the U.S. Constitution that they raised $40 million for, which was pretty cool. It was called the Constitution DAO. Had over 15,000 contributors. That was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And the other DAO I saw was called Friends with Benefits. And it says right here, it's a crypto club where owners of the Friends with Benefit token can meet up, network, and collaborate on individual projects. The people go to different cities and hubs and hook up with similar Web3-minded individuals with their own locality. The more Friends with Benefits token you have, the more interactions and opportunities you have to connect.
Interactions. You know? So is it like, are they actually like hooking up? When you say hook up, are they hooking up, or is it just like they get to like link up with somebody?
It says network and collaborate on individual projects. So
I got a couple of individual projects. That's crazy. So they hooking up. The more tokens you got, the more like fucking that's happening, or what's up? It's like it's an orgy token. What's going on, bro?
I'm not in that DAO, so I don't know if it's more like we're gonna do some tech stuff together, get some bug bounties, or we're gonna get some other kind of bounties together, some booty bounties.
Booty bounties. Nah, booty bounties, bro. Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll have to get those. I'll have to get those tokens and find out.
Yeah, you get those tokens. You report back. Let me know how that shit is, bro. I need a full 50-page report on what's going on over there.
Oh fuck!
What's it called? Friends with benefits.
Friends with benefits. Friends with
tokens?
benefits.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, the FWB token. Oh my god, bro.
I love it. Yeah, people's creativity. All right,
man.
we have Web3 tweets. Thank you. I was waiting for that. Our first tweet. Web3 tweets. What are those? Web3 tweets are tweets on the blockchain, tweets about the blockchain, and interesting stuff that is happening on the blockchain. Our first tweet comes from misshomie.eth.
Misshomie.eth?
That's her username. Actually, her @ is infinite homie, if it's a he or she, I don't know. But let's talk about transparency in DAOs, it says. Should all decisions relating to governance and operations, parentheses, the important decisions, be made in the forefront by as many as possible, question mark? Or should there be room for decision making in Web3 outside of the spotlight? Don't know if I understand the question. I don't understand the first part. So the decisions be made before basically made in the forefront. I see. Okay. So the decisions be made in public view basically by as many as possible, or are they saying should there be more decisions that are made behind the scenes before people see what's even like an option?
I think both is good, but
Yeah.
I feel like the whole thing about being Web3 and being decentralized is being open anyway. So I'm going to lean more on the side of open just because it's more into the culture of what the blockchain is supposed to be, the transparency.
Yeah.
How
I can see if
plays
it's like
out,
a
I'm not
cool
sure,
feature. I can see if it's like a cool feature that they like kind of want to roll out and they want to do it properly. Because I could see the issue of having options. And I guess if you're in the DAO, you're invested in it, and if it goes one way, that's a community's decision. But I could see an issue with like if a rollout didn't go well, like they announced something and it was like everybody knew about it, even people that weren't in the DAO, and then it just didn't happen. I could see the credibility factor being like a thing. But yeah, as far as like the whole like purist like decentralized nature of it, I think why not? Okay, our next tweet comes from @BullishJane. You think she's a crypto fan or what?
Bullish J.
Bullish Jane. All right. Multi-chain system, manage mutual treasury, collaborate, and even raise funds. DAOs are the next big thing. DAOs are the next big trend, and you got to join them or be left behind. All right. This person sounds like they're shilling something. Looks like they're shilling a X-DAO app. But I do agree with her that DAOs, I think, it's going to be a trendy thing, and I think it's just going to be a way of existing organizations to kind of broaden the way they do things, and then new organizations to come up. Like we said, with the Writers' Room DAO, which is, I mean, that's, dude. I'm telling you, like, for sure in the next 5 years we will have like Oscar-winning movies that are created through some type of DAO.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, you got to think about the amount of ideas that people sitting at home have, and they just can't get it out because there's so many gatekeepers in Hollywood. Like it's like a thing that has, I guess, kept Hollywood running, but it doesn't mean that it's not broken, right? Like people have complained about it. You know what I mean? Like especially people that are minorities like ourselves. The opportunities that can exist for both women, minorities, everybody, man, it's gonna be dope. And you don't even really know who the fuck the person is on the other side of that that it's like you're a human being and you have dope ideas like come through, which is dope.
I wonder if the DAOs if the DAOs ran by a bunch, because everything's decentralized and they get the vote, but if the DAOs ran by a bunch of idiots, like that's also an issue that could happen too.
That's a big issue. Yeah. That's what I said. I think there's the whole idea of it being like fully decentralized. First of all, like somebody has to create this thing, right? So there has to be somebody that like knows like, oh, this is how I envision it to be. But there has to be some type of like moderation by many or few. Like for example, like just the Ethereum Foundation is a group of individuals, actually a group of teams that are contributing different ways of what they feel like how they feel shit should go, and in collaboration, it created this complete thing that we know to be Ethereum, as well as now from moving from proof of work to proof of stake. That was all done by the Ethereum Foundation. It wasn't done by like random like coders.
That's true.
There's like a list of teams and stuff that did it. So I think you need that like certain level of control of people that know what they're doing and have together trusted each other. So that's, I think, where the trust part has to like lie. It's not completely trustless. You know what I mean? Because you could easily have like one team that would be like, nah, like I don't, or nah, like I'm gonna hack this. You know what I mean? Like that could easily happen. But I think people want the space to grow. So yeah, it's like definitely a murky line right now. But as the space grows, I think there will be more definitely organizations that want to take advantage of it. Why not, right? All right.
Bigger facts.
So our third tweet comes from Unexia_org. All right. As well as owning your own data in Web3, you can own the platform as a collective, using tokens that act like shares in a company. That's a good example. Tokens that act like shares in a company. DAOs let you coordinate decentralized ownership and make decisions about its future. That was a great one, actually. Yeah, how do you feel about that one?
I was spot on. It is like owning shares in a company. I think a lot of companies in the future, I think there's still going to be a good amount of centralized companies because the best people that are the most skilled are still going to be doing their own. Like their DAO is probably going to be a smaller DAO, people with bigger stakes. Like if you're in like Jeff Bezos' DAO, like that's it's a gangster DAO right there. Yeah,
for sure.
But a lot of companies also going to have a lot of chances for people that are not in that same level to operate with their DAOs too. So I think there might be entirely decentralized companies that are just like people that are in that DAO working together, you know, which is amazing because that's going to show like just how big, you know, what Web3 can really bring and what human beings working together on one project can do together.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking about the other day, bro, on some like corny but like real shit, is that the success of like this whole blockchain stuff and Web3 stuff is actually going to be proof that humans in general are actually good and not evil. If this succeeds the way it's supposed to, or the way that people see it succeeding, maybe even beyond, and if the amount of hacks are not equating to like the amount of success, or the amount of attacks are not equating to the amount of success, that is truth that people want stuff to be more open and everybody to be involved as a whole. Like that's like a human, like it's almost like verifiable. Like, oh yeah, humans are actually good humans, you know? I was thinking about the other day, I was like, damn, like that's deep. It's deeper than just like technology. It's like proof of like human values, you know?
The blue check mark of human values.
Verify. You niggas aren't fucked up.
One thing I was thinking about this too is that a lot of jobs aren't going to exist. Like it's going to be like a lot of roles are just being completely just like, if a smart contract can really do everything that it's capable of, and then you use your DAO to like decide what the next set of that smart contract is going to be, and it's just code that's just going through it, like a lot of careers are going to be entirely different, just not even needed anymore per se because of what these DAOs are doing. So
yeah, the smart contracts, man. I mean, like, real estate's going to be affected. A lot of middlemen are going to be affected by this, and it's going to take a while. It's not going to be like an overnight thing. I mean, these institutions have been around forever. If I were the institutions, if I were these lawyers, if I were these title companies, I would be paying attention onto how you can create like a product or add value to the space instead of fighting against it, because it's not going nowhere. It's not going anywhere. Don't get Ubered. I mean, don't get taxied. Oh shit! You don't get taxied. Damn. I think that's it, bro.
I think that's it. So guys, if you haven't already, definitely make sure you like, share, subscribe. Should have said that shit earlier. But leave a comment below of things you want to know about Web3. We made it this long. We really appreciate anybody who has and who does. Once again, it's Two Somethings in the Pod podcast. I'm Dom Jackson. You can follow me at Dom Jackson 747.
And again, I am Ozzy McIntosh. You can follow me at Ozzy McIntosh JR on everything. So, you could also follow the two of us at Two Somethings in a Pod.
And follow us on Twitter at 2_somethings. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and take care.